In a country where pensions are more than policy, where they are the lifeline for millions of seniors, today's announcement has sent shockwaves across Canada. The Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has hinted at what he calls the most significant reform in a generation to old age security and the Canada Pension Plan. For many, it sounds like relief. For others, it stirs fear. And for every Canadian nearing retirement, it raises one urgent question: what does this mean for me? From the bustling downtowns of Vancouver and Toronto to the quiet rural towns of Saskatchewan and Prince Edward Island, the impact of this change could touch every corner of Canadian life. Seniors, who have spent decades contributing to the economy, are now standing at the crossroads of uncertainty and hope. To understand why this matters, we must first remember the weight these programs carry. The Canada Pension Plan, or CPP, is not just an income stream. It is the retirement backbone for nearly 6 million Canadians receiving benefits. Add to that old age security, a monthly payment that supports 7 million seniors, and together they form the lifeline of retirement for the country. The current maximum CPP payment is just over $1,300 per month, while OAS provides up to $718. For many seniors, combined with modest savings, that is what pays the rent, puts food on the table, and ensures medication is purchased. Yet, even together, the numbers often fall short of the rising costs of modern life. Consider the reality: a senior couple in Calgary paying $1,600 for rent, $400 for groceries, $250 for prescriptions, and $200 for utilities. Their CPP and OAS barely cover the basics, leaving little for emergencies, travel to see family, or even the simple dignity of choice. It is in this climate of financial strain that Carney has stepped forward with promises of sweeping reform. Reports suggest that under the new framework, the federal government may consider increasing OAS by as much as $200 per month for lower-income seniors, while adjusting CPP contribution rules to strengthen long-term sustainability. Sources close to Ottawa whisper about a phased rollout beginning next year, with the possibility of additional support for those over 75. While nothing is finalized, the direction is clear: change is coming, and it will not be minor. But as with every bold shift, the country is divided. Supporters argue that this is overdue recognition of senior struggles. Advocacy groups point to surveys showing that nearly 45% of retirees live on less than $25,000 per year. For them, a few $100s more each month is not just help, it is survival. It means I won't have to choose between paying for my heart medication or fresh vegetables, one woman from Winnipeg explained. Her words echo the reality faced by thousands who live on fixed incomes while inflation climbs. Critics, however, warn that the math does not add up. Expanding benefits will cost billions, and those dollars must come from somewhere. Economists fear higher payroll deductions for today's workers, who already feel squeezed by housing costs, rising interest rates, and stagnant wages. Business leaders caution that younger generations could end up shouldering a heavier financial burden, questioning whether the promise of stronger pensions will be sustainable in 20 or 30 years. Mark Carney's defenders argue that he brings with him deep financial expertise, having once led both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. They say his credibility gives weight to his assurances that this reform is not reckless but necessary, designed to balance compassion with stability. Yet for opposition voices in Parliament, this is about trust. Can Canadians truly believe that the government will keep these promises without quietly trimming benefits later or raising taxes beyond what workers can afford? For seniors, however, the debate is not abstract, it is painfully real. Every week brings choices. Do they delay a dental appointment because it is not covered? Do they downsize to a smaller apartment in a less safe neighborhood because rent is cheaper? Do they skip heating for a few hours in the winter to save on the hydro bill? These are not academic arguments, they are lived experiences. One retired mechanic in Edmonton put it bluntly: I worked for 40 years, paid into the system every paycheck, and now I'm counting pennies at the pharmacy. If Carney's plan helps, great. But I'll believe it when I see it. The stakes are no less significant for families. Many middle-aged Canadians are part of the sandwich generation, caring for both their children and aging parents. Any relief in seniors' pensions could mean less pressure on adult children who often step in to help cover expenses. For them, this reform could free up resources for their own savings, education costs, or mortgages. What makes this announcement historic is not just the scale of the potential changes, but the timing. Canada is aging rapidly. Within the next decade, 1 in 4 Canadians will be over the age of 65. This demographic shift threatens to strain not only pension systems, but also healthcare, housing, and social services. For Carney, the question is whether bold action now can prepare the country for what lies ahead. For seniors, the question is whether they can wait long enough for promises to become reality. Details remain scarce. Will eligibility ages change? Will benefits be indexed more aggressively to inflation? Could there be targeted top-ups for seniors living alone, who are among the most vulnerable to poverty? Each unanswered question fuels both hope and anxiety. Despite the uncertainty, one thing is clear: Canadians are paying attention. Phone lines to MPs' offices are lighting up, financial planners are fielding calls from anxious clients, and seniors groups are organizing town halls across the country. The atmosphere is charged, as though the nation is holding its breath, waiting for clarity. In moments like these, the story is not just about policy, it is about dignity. Every senior who built the roads, taught in schools, cared for patients, raised families, and contributed to the nation's growth deserves to retire without fear of poverty. Whether you live in a high-rise in Montreal or on a farm in Alberta, the promise of a secure retirement is a cornerstone of what it means to be Canadian. As we stand on the edge of this potential transformation, the path ahead remains uncertain. But what is certain is the importance of the debate. Carney's move has ignited conversation in kitchens, community centres, and Parliament alike. It has reminded the country that pensions are not simply numbers on a balance sheet, they are the difference between comfort and struggle, between dignity and despair. And so, as the country waits for the final details, Canadians are left with a mix of apprehension and hope. Will this be the beginning of a stronger, fairer system for seniors? Or will it place new burdens on younger workers, risking future instability? Only time will tell. For now, the nation watches closely, seniors listen anxiously, and families quietly do the math in their heads. Tonight, one thing is undeniable: the debate over OAS and CPP has never felt more urgent, more personal, or more historic. Because in the end, this is not just about pensions. This is about the promise of Canada, that after a lifetime of work, sacrifice, and contribution, every citizen deserves the chance to grow old with dignity, security, and respect. And as the dust settles on Carney's announcement, one truth stands above all.